I'm back with chapters 37 and 38. Ever wonder if this could reek any worse? Said Akemi, because it couldn't. Yo, none of us pulled a clunker card, growls Miguel. That means somebody on Charles's team did it. Akemi and Miguel are right, Kyle, said Sierra. This really isn't fair. I know, was all Kyle could say. But it's like in Mr. Lemoncello's family frenzy, where one player pulls the orthodontist card, and everyone has to move back 7 spaces to buy their kids' braces. Kyle and his teammate were back in community meeting room B. They'd been staring at the clue board, wondering what a welling blackboard had to do with Willy Wonka and the 10 Commandments, not to mention the long list of books and all the statues. When the voice in the ceiling made its announcement about the Dewey Decimal doors being locked for 14 hours. Well, Mr. Lemoncello better have a good reason, said Akemi. Oh, I do, said Mr. Lemoncello. His face appeared on one of the meeting room walls, which was really a giant plasma screen video monitor. Team Kyle is not being penalized for Team Charles's blunder, he said. Far from it. In fact, you are being rewarded. Akemi arched her eyebrows in disbelief. Really? How? The other team's penalty gives you a wrinkle in time. A wrinkle in time, said Kyle. Is that a clue? No, it's a book. And sometimes, Kyle, a book is just a book. But thanks to the clunker card, you have the gift of wrinkled time to seek clues outside the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. Speaking of time, a magazine available in our periodical section, it's dinner time. So the game is basically suspended up until 10 o'clock tomorrow, said Kyle. Well, Kyle, that's up to you. You can use this time as a bonus to think, read, and explore, or you can run upstairs and play video games all night long. The choice is yours. We want to win this game, said Kyle. His teammates nodded in agreement. Wondermus, said Mr. Lemoncello. Keep working the puzzle, but try to avoid Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler's files. They're all mixed up. And before you turn in this evening, you might want to spend some time curled up with a good book. They just said the book rooms are locked, said Akemi. The nice lady in the ceiling was only talking about the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms. There's plenty of first-class fiction in the Rotunda reading room. Dr. Zinchenko has even selected 7 books specifically for our 7 remaining contestants. After dinner, you'll find those books on her desk. When he said that, Mr. Lemoncello started winking. I think you'll find the books to be very enlightening, inspirational even. Then he winked some more. And now I must return to my side of the mountain. See you all in the morning, children. I have great expectations for all of you. Mr. Lemoncello's image disappeared from the wall. Okay, said Akemi. From the way Mr. Lemoncello was just winking, either somebody kicked a bucket of sand in his face, or our recommended reading list is another clue. On the other side of the rotunda, Charles huddled with Andrew in meeting room A. I don't trust Haley, he said. Why not? Charles placed his hand on Andrew's shoulder. Well, my friend, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but Haley told me that she didn't think you were handsome enough to appear in Mr. Lemoncello's holiday commercials with us when we win. Because of my glasses? Charles bit his lip and nodded. Of course, I totally disagree. I see, said Andrew, his ears burning bright red. Then she doesn't get to see what we found in that Anne of Green Gables book. Very well, Andrew, if that's how you want to play it. You bet I do. Fine, let's go see what's for dinner. I'm starving. When Charles and Andrew entered the cafe, the Keeley team was inside already, filling their trays. Hey, way to go, Charles, joked Miguel Fernandez. You guys pulled a clunker card. Indeed we did. However, not even that bit of bad luck can derail our juggernaut. Huh? Said Akemi. He means we're still going to win, said Andrew. Charles and Andrew crossed to the far side of the room to join Haley, who was sitting in a corner. You guys find any clues this afternoon? She asked. Sadly, no, said Charles. All we found was that door locking penalty, said Andrew, who could lie almost as well as Charles. How about you, Haley? Charles asked. Find anything interesting? Nope, nada. Then she yawned and finished her dinner. I think I'll head upstairs and sack out. Really? It's only 8:48. I know, but I'm totally pooped. She yawned again. Plus, I want to be up bright and early before the Dewey Decimal doors reopen. We have more clues to find. See you guys tomorrow. Unless we have more team business to discuss? Nope, nothing. She walked out of the cafe. Very interesting, said Akemi, looking through the cafe's glass walls and into the rotunda reading room. What? Said Miguel. I think Clarence just dropped off our books. Kyle pushed back from the table. He could see the shadowy figure of the bulky security guard slinking away from the round desk at the center of the rotunda. He left behind a stack of books. Come on, he said. Let's go see what sort of inspirational reading Dr. Zinchenko has selected for us. What about those guys? Said Miguel, gesturing towards the table where Charles and Andrew were finishing their desserts. Kyle was torn. On one hand, he didn't want to give away the bonus his team had received, thanks to the other team's penalty. On the other hand, he didn't want people saying he and his friends won because Mr. Lemoncello had tossed them an extra clue. Hey, Charles, Andrew, we're going to grab some books to read to kill time till tomorrow morning. You two might want to do the same thing. No, thanks. Charles stood up. We pretty much have this thing figured out. In fact, I think Mr. Lemoncello steered us towards the clunker card, so we wouldn't win too easily. I mean, how would it look if we escaped from his library in less than 24 hours? Bad, said Andrew. Real bad. Indeed, said Charles. In fact, I suspect nobody would buy Lemoncello games anymore if we showed them how consistently easy they are to win. Anyway, we're going upstairs so I can give Andrew a tour of my private suite. Would any of you care to join us? No thanks, said Akemi. Suit yourself. Oh, by the way, Mr. Lemoncello has a real video game console upstairs. Kyle felt his mouth go dry. It's top-of-the-line equipment and plays real games, not just educational stuff. Care to join us, Keely? We're going to play Squirrel Squad 6, the new edition. According to the game box, it won't be released to the general public until early December. Kyle felt sweat beading on his forehead. His palms were moist. His fingers were twitching, itching to thumb toggle a joystick. But finally, after the inside of his mouth had turned to sandpaper, he said, No thanks, Charles. We're just gonna, read. After Charles and Andrew headed up to the third floor to play what was probably the most awesome version ever of Mr. Lemoncello's most awesome video game ever, if Charles Chiltington was actually telling the truth, Kyle and his teammates hurried out to see what books were waiting for them on the librarian's table. They found seven different versions of the same book, the complete Sherlock Holmes. One was a leather-bound limited edition. Another was a tattered paperback. 3 were hardcovers with different illustrations on their fronts. One was a bigger kind of paperback with lots of scholarly essays. And the 7th was an e-reader with only the one title loaded onto it. I think Mr. Lemoncello wants us to start a book club, said Sierra. What do you mean? Asked Kyle. We all read the same book, and then we get together later to discuss it and to share our opinions. It's fun, said Miguel. We have a book group at school. Are you in it? Asked Sierra. Yeah, maybe you would like to join us sometime. I would. Thank you, Miguel. Akemi cleared her throat. Now what? She said to Kyle. Kyle shrugged. Like I told Charles, we read. Everybody grabbed a copy of the Sherlock Holmes book. Nobody went for the e-reader. Upstairs, on the 3rd floor, Haley tiptoed around the Lemoncello Abilia room. When she had visited the mini museum earlier, she hadn't really looked around. Now she hoped to find another book from the memorable Reads display, a little golden book called Baby's Mother Goose, Pat a Cake, which could have been something Mr. Lemoncello read, or had read to him when he was a very young boy. Haley made her way past the orderly stacks of boxes, through a doorway, and into what looked like a recreation of Mr. Lemoncello's childhood bedroom. A cramped space crammed with 2 bunk beds that he had shared with his 3 brothers. Next to one of the lower bunks was a bookcase made out of plastic milk crates. There it was, filed away with maybe 3 dozen other skinny, hardboard-covered picture books. Haley pried open the cover. Out plopped a 4x4 art card. She quickly folded it in half and stuffed it inside her sneaker with the bandit's clue. Because now she was pretty certain the bandits had at one time or another crawled in to this building back when it was a bank. The silhouette of Indiana didn't represent the Indianapolis 500, like Charles had insisted. It stood for N, the official post office abbreviation for the Hoosier State. First thing in the morning, when the doors reopened, she needed to search through the Dewey Decimal Rooms to find a clue that would tell her exactly how and where the bandits had crawled in. A tunnel, an air vent, a secret passageway on the first, second, or third floor between the old bank and the office building behind it. There was only one thing Haley was certain of. They hadn't crawled in through a book return slot.